Okay, good morning. We're back to our men's class. Only for men. Women should not be listening to this. If they do, it's going to be a problem. So what's going to happen? She's going to start telling her husband this and that and whatever. And no, and then it's going to have worse problems than before. You know? So women should not be listening to this. Okay, Liulun Shema, we have Yael Bat Yafa, the mother of our esteemed rabbi. Okay, so yesterday we said, how do we manage arguments? Yeah, we said that we shouldn't argue so on and so forth. But let's say you got into an argument. Yeah, you want the strength to gain control over yourself during a disagreement. You want to establish boundaries to your replies and reactions, despite the emotional seething inside of you. To do so successfully, here are several things to bear in mind. First of all, married couple have to make, solid rules. Rule number one: no cursing. Yeah, as far as like bad curses. Rule number one. Rule number two: no pushing, no shoving, no hitting. Yeah, nor the wife, nor the husband. Yeah, these are rules that should be set way before the marriage. If they were not set, they should be set right now. Listen, from today on, we do not do this. Understand? And he's going to give us other rules or other ways to manage. But these two are very important because what happens is the respect. It's gonna break down when there's cursing involved, and then when the respect breaks down on both sides, there's not really a marriage. Sometimes you don't talk to each other. Sometimes maybe you raise voice to each other. It's still no good too. But these are not as bad as these two that we mentioned. It says first and foremost, remember that whoever causes unjustified pain to another through his words is transgressing a commandment from the Torah. Do not oppress one another. Yeah, and it says, was everything you said in the argument justified and vindicated? Right? We said yesterday, if we have a piece of pig, did we say that yesterday here? If we have a piece of pig and we want to say something nasty to the wife, right, which is going to upset her, which one should one? Less damaging is a piece of pig. Why? Piece of pig, right? You eat it, you made a boo-boo. But if you do chatati, aviti, pashati, and min chatam, right, you're good. Hashem is forgiven. You don't need Yom Kippur. You don't need anything like that. You're good. You say something bad to your wife. You transgress several, doraita transgressions. And then, chatati aviti pashit is not going to help you. Why? Because you have to ask her forgiveness. You have to appease her. You have to, and then you're going to need, the different types of things in order to absolve this thing. Why? Because it's l'adam l'chaviro, ben adam l'chaviro, between man and man, or man and woman in this case. Right? So we got to be careful what we're saying. We should not say things that are very damaging to the person's, feelings. Instead, stop and weigh your future words to see if they are technically more profitable than damaging. Try to remember what great efforts were required later to appease your spouse after the last argument. As some wise person observed, when on the road, don't be right, be smart. And like on the road, a clash can be very dangerous, and perhaps it is wiser to be wise and not right. Yeah? He says, it's very hard to do this because when we argue, everything is on the second, not even on the moment. If it'd be a moment, we could at least, think about it. But it's one of those things where it's on the second. So you might, yeah. Is it worth for me to say this? How much time is it going to take me to be able to repair this, what I'm going to say right now? Yeah, because sometimes it's irreparable because it's so strong, the words, and it's irreparable. He says when a person is on a road, yeah, it's sometimes better to do the right thing, meaning better to do the smart thing than the right thing. Why? Yes, you're first, or yes, it's your lane, right? It's your way, right of way. That's your right. But do the smart thing because this guy is coming in from this side. You're going to get into an accident. Yeah. Same thing in the house. We have to try to, and where does this come from? This comes from being able to control your emotions. Okay? If a person is not in control with his emotions, the wife doesn't respect you. Why? Because a man is a person who controls his emotions, right? And this non-emotional control speaking, things that come out of your mouth, is a very big affront to her, as far as like, oh, who's this guy? This guy is not a mujik, he's not a man. He says, during the argument, be honest and ask yourself, what do I stand to gain if I keep going this way? A lot of times we see like, yeah, it's not gonna work. I've tried this, it's not gonna work. And you know what we do? We still go into the deeper hole. Yeah? So deeper hole. You know, there are some
They don't go to,
who, when they see that they're going the wrong way, they keep going the wrong way, thinking maybe there's a turn, maybe there's a turn. Yeah, she says no. Stop. Make a wrong direction. You know, make a different letter. Says during the argument, be honest and ask, what do I gain from here? What do I stand to gain here? Don't know from experience. It says don't know from experience what these fights lead to, only suffering and trouble, and on an ongoing battle for the next 2 weeks. So why should I subject myself to another round of insulting words and hostile body language that causes harm? Tell yourself, I've got to find a better way out. Yeah, many marriages that are in problems for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, it's the same problem. I know if I'm going to say this to her, we're going to get upset. We're not going to talk for 2, 3 weeks, and then later I have to somehow make it up. And you know what? Again, cycle, same cycle. Yeah, and we keep going to the same cycle. A lot of times you already know what's going to come out of it, and you still open your mouth.
what's so problematic to say to a wife a certain comment? Why is it so like a bomb?
I mean, for her, you're asking, what is the danger to say a comment to her?
Yes.
Oh, so we said in the beginning that she wants to be seen in your eyes as the most flawless, the most angel type individual. Number one, right. And now, if you're going to say this comment to her, you take her off this flawlessness.
Where did she get this?
Oh, so this is something that Hashem created her like that. Hashem created her.
It turns out that we don't appreciate
Absolutely.
what Hashem put
Yes,
in her.
yes. But you know what they're saying? Well, he says we don't appreciate what Hashem put in her. What they're saying is, but look at her. She's lazy. Look what she's doing. Instead, she's not acting like a woman. Yeah? Many men saying, yeah, but what if a wife doesn't act like a woman? So I said to them like this. Go back to the day you got married. Yeah?
Yeah.
Go back to the day you got married. Before the marriage, things were pretty good. When you got married, yesterday somebody said to me, yes, there was breakfast every single day. And then it stopped. Why? I said, you know why? Because from the first day that you got married, you started breaking the marriage down by, the comments. By the way, first week, you already start making comments. Again, people think when we say comments, they're negative in the sense that they're nasty. No, we're not talking about nasty.
Yeah,
we're talking about innocent, nice comments. Like, sweetie, why did you put your purse here? Because I used to say to my wife, why did you put the bag on the table? They say, I heard in the news that the bag is the worst thing as far as germs. Why? We put them all over the floor, all everywhere, right? And then we come and put it on the living room table, for instance, yeah? So you want to be a smart guy, and you want to say, sweetie, don't put your bag on the living room table because there's so many germs that now you're coming from the point of view of, hygienic and this and that. Her thinking this guy, why is he telling me?
Not good enough for him.
Yeah. So when we talk in comments, we're talking things that are legitimate 100%. What's wrong with what I said? Yeah? As I gave him an example that my wife accidentally didn't know when she was dropping off the kids, she was going on a bus lane. Going on the bus lane, ticket. The ticket was mailed to you. So imagine it's mailed to you 3, 4, 5 days later. So 3, 4, 5 days she was going on the bus lane. So one ticket came, another ticket came, yeah? She's like, what's all these tickets? So I said to her, bus lane, you're not allowed to. They're gonna speak. They send you a ticket, yeah? So how many times did you go on the bus lane? That's it. 4 tickets came, 4 times she went, maybe she went 10 times. But this again, you're pointing out to me that I'm no good. I don't know how to drive. I don't know how to take, how to follow direction. I don't know.
I'm not number one.
Yeah, exactly. All leads to that I'm not number one. So he says, think about it. What is this going to give you? What is this, comment or whatever you're going to say to her? How much is it going to cost you? At the end of the day, every one of our investments, we think, okay, if I invest this much, what am I going to get out of it? Sometimes we're like, nah, it's not worth it. So he says in marriage, exactly the same thing you have to do. If I'm going to say this right now, is it worth right now for me? I'm not going to be able to talk to her. Which means what? I'm not going to be able to be with her in the next couple of days. then her mikveh. Then she's gonna have her, cycle, and then another 2 weeks there, and so you're 1 month out of the business. You understand? So he says, think about it. Don't make irrational comments. Says, take cue from a salesperson. Even when she or he is in a bad mood because of outside factors, make a supreme effort to leave his troubles behind him and be pleasant and courteous to the customer, knowing that otherwise he is liable to lose out. He will lose his customers through his sour expression. Similarly, in married life, convince yourself, if I react with impatience and touchiness, I will lose out. I will cause myself and my spouse unnecessary pain and suffering, which can be avoided with a bit of effort by nipping an argument in the bud before it becomes full-blown. What is he saying? He says, for instance, right? You really upset. Something upset you, not on your job. Customer comes in, how are you going to ask? Hi, how are you? Please sit down. I'm going to work on your teeth, this and that, right? Customer comes to me, hi, how are you? What can I show you? Oh, you want to see a ring? Okay. I have a smile on the face. Why? Money, right? This is money in front of you, correct? So we immediately change our attitude. We leave what we had disturbing us.
Possible, right?
Of course it's possible. So he's saying this is exactly the same thing you have to do with your wife. When you see her getting a little bit upset and what you're going to say right now is going to make her upset, change the whole thing. It says be a salesperson.
By the way, if she's like this,
right?
The moment I come and I smile,
right
away I see smile on
Good. So he said,
amazing.
But you know what we do? When she's like this, we're thinking, why is she like this? You know, understand? So much that I do. Why is she like this? So you know what we do? We also like this. We're going to show you what I call that kindergarten tactics. Yeah? And we play a lot of kindergarten tactics with our 40, 50-year-old spouses. You understand? He says, train yourself. Number 4, train yourself during moments of tension to stop and think of many good points of your wife. That she cooks, she does laundry, she organizes the home, cleans, she's a parent to the children, she bears and nurtures them, feeds the family, so on. Summing up all these positive aspects will prove to you that the present problem is dwarfed by all the good things that she does in maintaining the home and the family. You understand? Because what do? We all of a sudden, the minute we get into argument, all the negatives come. Oh, she's this, she told me this, she's like that, she doesn't cook, she's not blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but what about all the things she does? Yeah, she gave us this child, she gave us this child, she takes care of this child, she's nursing this, she does laundry, she does the food, she prepares Shabbat, all the good stuff that she does at the end of the day. You understand? So he says, look at, so don't block it. As a man, we have to not block it. That's why we're men. They are a little bit emotional. You understand? So by them, it's a little bit more difficult. That's why we have to be there in order to get them out of this emotional distress. Yeah? He says this holds true for a life at all times and is a formula for banishing displeasure and dissatisfaction. Try to imagine a man who has been planning a trip to a distant city to purchase a certain important commodity, but pressing matters in his life have caused him to postpone it time and time again. Finally, he designates a specific day when he will set out aside all other preoccupations. That day arrives and he sets forth. Finally reaching the store he had in mind. To his dismay, a sign on the storefront informs him what? Due to celebration of family, the store will be closed for the day. How does he feel at that moment? Angry, frustrated, terrible, disappointed. I've been planning this trip for weeks, only to find the store closed. Having no choice, he returns home thoroughly aggravated. His negative feelings are certainly justified, right? Meaning a person is planning to do something, happens that a lot with us. Yeah, we have something in mind, we plan it, it doesn't work out. Here it talks about going to a different place. But imagine, even locally, things don't work out. You're working on a deal, everything, boom, it doesn't work out. If at that moment of discovery of the closed store, he had taken a pen and paper and draw up a list of all the desires in life, he should have written to see there are so many blind people in the world, to hear what about the deaf people in the world, to be able to talk, a wife, children, a home, comfortable bed, and so on. Let him write down anything that comes to his mind, including the wish to have found the store open. When he completes this list, let him check off all those that he actually possesses and put the X by the thing that he lacks, right? Then he is told to take a stock and think of it logically, right? Meaning, you walk there, so you have good feet. Many people cannot walk. You have hands, your all eyes, you speak, you smell, you do a lot of things. So he says, yes, I have this, I have this. Okay, the store was closed. Okay, what are you going to do? Yeah. Yesterday when we spoke about this whole topic, we said that the main thing in life is actually to have emunah and bitachon, which means if something happens, guess what? That's exactly how Hashem wanted it to happen. And therefore, you're going to fight against Hashem? Yeah? No matter what you do, right? This is exactly how Hashem wanted it to happen. Because if he didn't want the store to be closed, he would have made sure it's open. He would have brought you there when it's open. But he devised this whole thing for what? For this purpose. Now, do we have to know why did he do it? No. We have to know that he did it. Similarly, when we have a certain husband, or we have a certain wife, or we have certain children, we have to understand this was exactly, measured from measure to the finest degree by Hashem. And therefore, we cannot get upset. Why? How are you going to go fight Hashem? We're not at Tower of Babel to say, hey Hashem, why you put me this? No. We have to accept it and move on. Move on with a smile, bisimcha. Here says, do I really have a legitimate reason to be frustrated? Why? I have everything I truly need. Just because a store I needed this closed, is that reason for me to be totally miserable? Yeah? Just because I came and my wife is in the couch and she wasn't able to cook anything, just because the house is a little bit messy, just because, is it reason to get upset? What is this upsetness going to give you? It's not going to give you anything, right? It's just going to make things worse. She's going to get even more upset, and the two of you will be gone for 2 weeks. No talking, no nothing. Yeah? He says, how can my disappointment even fit into the list of the wonderful things that I have been blessed with? There is no comparison to the bounty with which God has showered me. After this exercise, his mood will swing to the opposite side. I used to deliver pizza. And I used to come into somebody's homes and, Mom, you couldn't cry. Imagine having one disabled child. But imagine 2 disabled children in one house. Can you imagine the suffering? This suffering is not for 1 hour. It's not for 1 day. It's the rest of your life suffering. I mean, just to think of that and to say, wow, at least I have everything, Baruch Hashem, normal. Just to think about that, And God forbid Hashem gives us a test like this. This is a big test, right? And because we don't have it, Hashem knows we won't be able to handle that. But the little test that he gives us, we have to say, Hashem, thank you, it's this test. Thank you, it's that my wife gets on my nerves sometimes. Baruch Hashem. Yeah, no, really. Thank you. Yeah? I wanted to read, I can't read something over here. But yesterday I read it today because we don't record that class, too much involved, a lot of questions and answer. But I read to them a message that my wife sent yesterday. And she says, just again, she says, finally I have such a husband that I'm so happily married, and finally I feel joy and this and that, whatever. And right there, the next text afterwards, which she wrote right there, please don't instill fear in me when I because yesterday she says, you're going to pick up my son, my older son. She wanted to see the grandson. She goes, pick me up, yeah. So I said to her, do they know that you're leaving work for 5-10 minutes? She's like, don't worry, I don't have a set time. But because I said that, she accidentally tripped, almost fell. So she felt that it was my negative energy that caused this. But what I'm trying to say is, first the text was, you this, you that, wonderful, and then right after that, it's a reproof. Now, I don't think it was intentional, the sandwich. I don't think it was intentional. It's just that she was truly happy to say it, because before that I had texted her some nice things, so she truly wanted to help. But then immediately after that, why? Because that's a woman. She's 1 minute this way, and the next minute she's another way. And you know what a man's supposed to do? The good things, the bad things. Now, years ago, you know what I would do? Yeah, with the you should watch your step. You why? To protect my ego. To protect my ego. You understand? But now, what ego? When you're protecting your ego, you're being a child. You understand? You're so low in your self-esteem that a little bit of smack, you get immediately into a defensive mode. What defensive mode? She wants to let off steam? No problem. Yeah, sometimes a train needs to let off steam a little bit.
Flush it away.
Yeah, he says the evil inclination tries to make a person focus on the little lacks while blinding him to the everything good. Yeah, evil inclination, so красиво. The one little bad thing, what тако? Big microscope, magnification. Yeah, magnification. Oh, she's like this. Yeah, he says this applies to marital harmony as well. When a person focuses on all the advantages encompassed in his wife, he will realize that my criticism against her because of one particular fault is altogether cancelled out when held up to the good points. With this approach, we will feel reassured and his outward reaction will be altogether different. Now, many times we've been talking about the criticism is no good and so on and so forth, but the men are saying, yeah, but she's actually doing these things. It's actually disheveled the home. There's actually, plates that have been in there for 3-4 days. The house looks like a mess. What do I do? So our dear Avrum, he said, I like this concept where our service of Hashem is directly related to the way our relationship with our wife. You hear? And therefore, it's a correlation that we have to make. You see, we think that our relationship with our wife has nothing to do with the relationship that we have got with Hashem. And each in our level, we have to grow higher and higher. To give you an example, sometimes on the radio, I'll listen to whatever, things that are not 100% Jewish, yeah? But only on the car. Sometimes I'm driving, I fall asleep, we wake up 5:45 in the morning, going home at 6 o'clock in the evening. It doesn't, so I put something loud, in order not to go to sleep, yeah? It's goyish though, right? And I don't listen at home, and only when I'm in the car myself, yeah? Yesterday, my wife is listening to something in the house, yeah? And it's also Ruski pesny, Russian, and it bothered me. And now, I wanted to tell, listen, it's not good to listen to this kind of music. But you know what I said? And you know what I said? But it's my fault. You know why? Hashem is showing me, you listen. Why? But you know what's interesting? But I listen in the car. Nobody's listening. I'm myself. That's the caveat of Hashem. You know what he says? It's okay. You'll be listening in the car, but I'll make it that she'll be listening in front of all the rabbis, and you'll be sitting there like, what do I do? You understand? You hear what I'm saying? So many times we feel that why is something the way it is? Because in your service of Hashem, there's something little that you're faulting. But Hashem is going to make it so big and ugly over here, you'd be like, what is that? So really what each one of us has to do is to do introspection and see, where am I lacking that Hashem is showing me this? What am I lacking with Hashem, service of Hashem, that He's showing me this? And you know what? If you're really going to be truthful with yourself, you're going to see that it's all connected. It's all connected, yeah.
Sometimes it's the other way sometimes. Maybe it's because you hear in the house that she's listening to us and go yourself. So when you're in the car,
you're going to listen.
You're like, okay, in the house, my wife does it, my wife...
No.
No, I'm saying sometimes that can maybe be like a...
I hear you, but you started it first. You started it, meaning you already had it implanted in your mind, because the thing is, it's all after the man.
The mirror.
Yeah, she's the mirror. You're not her mirror.
You're the leader.
You're the leader. She's your mirror. It's how I look according to her. Where am I standing with Hashem? And this like a person lazy, right? A person's not lazy. He sees his wife lazy. So he's like, what the hell?
Where is God?
Yeah, where is my... That's not me at all. It is you. Why? Because when it comes to praying and this and that, you're like, I don't need it right now. When it comes to mitzvot, certain mitzvot, what do you do? Like, later I'll do it. You forget. That's laziness. You understand? That's not a larceny. So therefore Hashem says, okay, no problem. You're going to be lazy with me? I'm going to show you such a lazy wife. So now you're going to tell me, yeah, but it's not measure for measure. I'm like this lazy. Why she's like this lazy? So we mentioned before it's gonna be blown up 1,000 times more. Why? So that you could see. Because if he's gonna give you this much in her, you're not gonna notice it. But this music was penetrating so loud yesterday that to me I was like, oh my God, you know. But then you know what? It was my fault. Now, which person is gonna say it's my fault? He's gonna say to her, what? Hey, what are you doing? Why in the house? Why so loud? Why so this?
So what happens if you stop listening to the radio and the radio
She'll
still
stop.
keeps on
No, she'll stop. And
And
you know what? I'm telling you this now because I've tested it a year ago, where I said, oh, okay, I'm not gonna do it. And you know what? Slowly, she didn't do it. And it's interesting. She even tell me, I'm not gonna listen anymore.
Did you tell her that you're gonna?
No. Again, I just myself thinking, let's test situations. You know, everything here in this life, no happenstance. Happenstance means no accidents. There's a action reaction. Everything is action reaction. Every single thing we do. That's why everything we do. Same thing. Absolutely. Why they ganging up on us?
Oh, it's like he gives them heart, he gives them everything.
No, forget about them. He uses everybody else.
They live it.
No.
Create a heart for them.
He uses everybody else. Yeah.
He blesses them too.
Yeah, of course. Yes. You know why? He needs to bless them in order for them to be on our case. Everybody's blessed in order for them to be on our case when we're bad. And he knows we're going to be bad. So therefore he gets it ready. All of a sudden be a billion people. No. So he has to slowly make a billion people, give them money, have been able to do this. This is a bigger picture. Yeah, it's a bigger picture. He doesn't do things all of a sudden. You understand? So he sets everything up to us. Everything is around us. Number 5, he says, so the couple differ in opinion. If they discuss the issue logically from a vantage point of mutual respect, they will benefit in areas beyond the confines of the relationship. Their children will be respectful after they have internalized the example from their role models. This is far more effective than any lecture on the subject. We must make every effort to keep a practical discussion on an even keel and not not let it deteriorate into argument, which can easily turn into a full-blown bout, meaning fight. Who's wise? One who foresees the future. Fortunate is the one who is forewarned to speak respectfully, even when he feels internally frustrated by his wife's manner of speech and attitude towards him. He's saying, you know what's the biggest example for your children? Not to lecture them. So no, you gotta be like this, you gotta be like that, you can't do this, you can't talk like that, you can't do that. The worst thing. He says, you'll be an example. So he says, by the way, kids see everything at a very early age. Already at 2, 3, 4, they already see everything between the parents. You know, they're very, very wise. My grandson, he's not even 2 years. You can already see in their eyes the keenness, the smartness. You know, when somebody passes by, they look like this. Yeah, why are you looking like this? Only a clever individual, huh? Yeah, only a clever individual looks like this. Yeah? A dummy would he'd be like this. Yeah. So they know everything. When they're playing with their toys and you and your wife are having a heated discussion over there, they know everything. They know everything. Yeah. When they're 7, 8, 9, 10, why? A lot of times, you know, they'll be watching things or whatever. They have their ear on you in the kitchen. And something, the child knows everything. And then they'll see the disrespect going back and forth, and slowly like that, they're growing, right? And they're learning this disrespect, and then they come to your face, and you're like, why is my child like that? I don't understand. I didn't teach him this way. You did, not knowingly. Many times when we drive, I don't know, was it in this? Somebody said it in this. Some guy says a bad word. Yeah, when he's driving, he says this Russian bad word. So with his child in the back. The child is small, doesn't really speak really. And what happened is, when that child had something wrong with it, he said exactly the same word. He flipped out. It's like, how did the child know this word? How did he know? When you're driving him to kindergarten or wherever he's driving him, you know, sometimes like, you know? So he says that. The child says that. You know, he doesn't know what he's saying, but he knows. When daddy's a little bit takoy, he says like that. And what's going to happen? Now when he's going to be a little bit takoy, He's going to say exactly that, right? So therefore, he says you have to be a good example.